Okay, good morning or good afternoon or good evening, depending on where you're listening to this Screencastify podcast on the trial balance from. Okay, what I'm going to go through today is the trial balance. Trial balance is quite a simple document that the business uses, and it basically lists all the balancing figures from all the individual ledger accounts, and it lists them as either debits or credits. It's relatively straightforward because it follows dead click. So if you look at the figures already in the trial balance here, you've got purchases, they're a debit because we are either increasing inventory, which is a current asset, or we can also think of it as an expense because it appears in the income statement. Bank in this case is an overdraft of 200, whatever currency you're using. Sales returns, when we get sales returns, we gain the goods back, so we are gaining inventory, which is a current asset. Carriage inwards and carriage outwards, they're both an expense and therefore the debits. We've got a loan, which is 1,000 because it's a liability. Drawings and wages are an expense. Okay, here we've got the four remaining ledger accounts, and they've already been balanced off for us. The telephone account, okay, that's getting balanced off 2,800, and that's going to the income statement as an expense. It will appear in the income statement as a debit, and therefore what we need to do, following dead click as well, we need to put 2,800 into the trial balance. Cash, we've got a balance carry forward of 800, so that means we've got 800, and in this case we'll call it dollars, but it could be pounds or Kuwaiti dinar. Balance brought forward on the debit side of 800, it's going to appear as an asset in the statement of financial position, and following dead click as an asset, it's going to go into the trial balance at 800. Capital, got a balance carry forward of 12,000. Balance brought forward is also going to be 12,000. Okay, it's on the credit side of the balance brought forward because that's where it's going to appear in the statement of financial position. Under dead click, it's a credit entry, so we're going to put 12,000 into the trial balance, and hopefully we've got sales as a final entry. Sales are a form of income, so the balance going to the income statement is going to be 11,100. If I now put this into the credit side of my trial balance, I'll just screen it so you can see it all. 11,100. Unfortunately, my trial balance now balances. What I've prepared for you to do is you've got a number, or we've got two examples here of figures that have been taken from the ledger accounts, and what you need to do is to put those on the correct side of the trial balance, and I'd suggest that you use dead click to do that. So for example, if you put the motor vehicles as £20,000 on the debit side because they're a non-current asset, and what you should find is that the totals at the bottom will automatically increase. What you need to do is to put all the figures into the correct place. If it doesn't balance, see if you can work out why for question 1 and question 2 you've got a difference. What I'd suggest is that you pause this podcast now, go through and do the two questions. You've got an answer sheet there to compare your answers if you're having a problem, and then come back to it and we'll look at the next topic, which is when the trial balance doesn't balance and therefore there's an error. Okay, we've got three different types of common exam question, and we'll do a quick example of each one, and then I've prepared you an example of each one to do in your own time. The first one is where we've got a difference between the debits and credits in the trial balance, and what we're going to need to do is to work our way through it, and we're going to need to put things in the right place. So motor vehicles, non-current asset, it's going to last for more than 1 year, and therefore we're going to put it on the debit side. The computers are in the right place. Inventory is a current asset. You'd expect it to last for less for than 1 year, but that should be on the debit side, so there's no problem there. Cash, again, that's a current asset. Loan, it's a non-current liability normally. Purchases are in the right place because they're either considered to be an expense because of the income statement, or we can also think of them as being we've gained a current asset of inventory when we bought things. Purchase returns, again, we've lost goods when we send things back to the supplier, so that goes on the credit side. Sales are in the right place or an income. Sales returns are in the wrong place though, we've gained 800 of inventory there, so it goes on the debit side. Got an expense, wages are an expense, trade receivables, they're a current asset and they should be on the debit side, but your trade payables, what we owe, should be a current liability, and that goes on the credit side. Motor expenses 700, that should be an expense. And then capital 31,500 under dead click, that's a credit entry. And fortunately, the two sides now balance. Okay, type 2, this is where you're not given one of the figures and you're told to do the corrections and then you to make the accounts balance by putting in the balancing figure. So we've got motor vehicles, they're in the right place, but the computer's in the wrong place this time. Okay, 10,000 on the debit side, that's a non-current asset. Inventory is also in the wrong place, but that's a current asset, but it still goes on the debit side. We don't know about the cash at the moment. We do know there's a loan, and that's a liability. Got purchases, an expense. Purchase returns, though, they should be on the debit side because when we return goods back to suppliers, we lose those goods and therefore we're losing a current assets. Sales are in the right place. Sales returns are in the right place this time. Gas and electrics, an expense, that's correct. We've got wages, they're an expense. We've got trade receivables, a current asset, trade payables, current liability, motor expenses are an expense, capital. So there's a 600 difference between the two. Okay, the currency doesn't matter, it could be dollars, Kuwaiti dinar, pounds. So I'm going to put 600 on the debit side of the question. Okay, we'll change that to question 2, just to make it more simple for everybody to use. And what we can see now is the two do balance. And also, if we look at the question above, because I haven't changed the numbers, the cash was 600. Okay, final type is where we've got something called a suspense account. And what a suspense account is, it's a number that's put in to make the two sides of the account temporarily balance while we're looking to try and find what the errors are. So if you look now, if I take that 42,200 in the suspense account away, we find that the debit side is much bigger than the credit side. And if you've got a suspense account, normally, if we do all the corrections, what should happen is the accounts should balance. Okay, we've had this one before. The motor vehicle should be a debit. So hopefully we all know now that that's a non-current asset and should be on the debit side. Computer's inventory in the right place. Cash is a current asset, so it should be on the debit side following dead click. Loan, that's on the wrong place. It's going to be a liability. Purchases, correct place. Purchase returns. When we send goods back to suppliers, we're losing current assets. That's correct. Sales in the right place. Sales returns in the wrong place. Okay, there we're gaining the inventory back again. So we're gaining a current asset. Gas and electric's an expense. Wages are an expense. Trade receivables are a current asset. Trade payables are a current liability. Motor expense in the right place. Got a big one here that's in the wrong place, which is capital. And now I've got to be hoping now, because I've nearly finished, and if I've made a mistake, I'm going to have to do the whole thing again. So let's see what that does. Okay, the two accounts do balance, so that's absolutely fine. Okay, so last task for you guys, what I want you to do is to go through onto the student sheet, and what you'll find in the student sheet is that there's one example of each for you to do. Okay, I've made it slightly more tricky for you lot because I've used different numbers for each one. Okay, but I believe that the numbers do work. They should do, because I've actually got the answer sheet again for you. So hopefully that's helped, and hopefully by tomorrow we're all going to be able to do a trial balance. Thank you very much for listening. Hope you enjoyed the exercises.